welcome to WAM. Today's episode, we have a choose your own adventure kind of beginning bit thing. If you want to go and skip exactly the 30 seconds after I stop talking, you'll get a first bit. And if you want to skip 60 seconds to when I stop talking, there'll be a second bit. And you get to choose which one you want to do. Okay, now go ahead and do that. Now, right about now, they're coming back because they realized, of course, we didn't do that.
Yeah.
And they feel really stupid.
It's way too much effort. You were pretty foolish to honestly think we would do that, actually.
Have you seen our logo? I made that on a Google slide.
Come on now.
Okay.
Welcome to WAM, episode 29, 30, 29?
So wait, I'll check real quick because I think it might be 30. Let me check.
It's 30.
Double digits.
Welcome to 30. Huge. Soon we can start thinking about our life choices. But this week we watched the movie It Follows, which came out in, I think, 2013, right?
Yes, it's been a little bit of a while since it came out, but it only got a cult following a few years after its release, I believe.
Mm-hmm. It was released initially at a film festival, and then it had some limited releases a little bit after, and then once that kind of was successful, then it finally got like a full big debut release.
You know what that reminds me of? Richard Linklater, he made Days Confused and School of Rock. He made a movie Hitman, and it premiered last March, and it's still not out yet.
Oh, how does that work? How does it premiere and not?
It had its world premiere at South by, and now it's planning on coming out in August of this year. So it will have been like out for people to watch, at least in small theaters, for over a year, but it still has not found a theatrical release.
Well, that's really weird, but okay, I guess.
I mean, people are excited for it, so I guess you're just building up hype.
Yeah, really. I mean, this movie was made on $1.3 million, and in the box office, it made 23.3. So they made their money back.
Yeah, it's profit.
Yeah, that's pretty good profit.
Yeah. One of the things you really can tell about this movie is its budget. I think the only ways you can really... No, there's three ways. There's three ways you can tell it. One, actors. Actors are unknown. You don't recognize any of them. They're not particularly bad, but it's not like huge star power, and it's not incredible performances.
No, you won't recognize anyone in, this level of movie at all. And they're not like horrible actors, but it's definitely not the cream of the crop. You're not paying for their acting. You're more paying for, I think, the story of the movie at this point in this kind of horror movie genre.
Yeah. And then second, you have camera work. It seems very inspired by what we consider very great cinematography. It has very cool looking static shots, but every time you kind of see how they're framing it, it always feels like it's imitating something. It never feels entirely professional. Like if an amateur was really good at what they did, that's how I would describe the cinematography. How did you feel about it?
Overall, I think I'm going to tend to agree with that. Like, this movie really felt like a, college senior year kind of film.
Yeah.
Where it was a cool idea, cool plot, but it just didn't have the resources maybe or the ability to make it feel that much grander kind of, because this definitely felt like it felt like a C-list movie really a lot of the time.
Yeah, and then I think the third thing is the soundtrack, which was made entirely of a digital synth.
Yeah, that definitely was something, I guess. Not for me, but whatever.
Digital synth has been a part of the horror landscape for a while, only really because of John Carpenter. On his low budget films, he would do his own music on it, and it stood out as like a little bit cheesy in those. But just because John Carpenter's good at horror, it ended up working. But for this, most of the time, I thought that's really annoying. There are times where I thought it was good, but it's not necessarily because it's fitting, but because I was fucking with the music. But it's like there's a time and a place for it, you know?
Yeah, that's fair. But this movie opens up and where we have this girl who's like she's screaming and running. She's being chased by somebody. We can't see who. And she's screaming out to everybody. No one really believes her. And then after a little bit, like we cut to her later on a beach and she's sitting, calling her family, telling them like that she loves them and goodbye and all that. And it cuts to the next morning and we just see her mutilated like corpse laying on the beach. And that's how we intro right into this movie.
Yeah, we see her where the rest of her body seems, fine, except for the fact that her legs have been pretzeled in every which way.
Yeah, you really can't get that out.
How am I supposed to untie this?
Come on, it's really difficult. The bones are the hard part.
Yeah, it looks like if you leave your headphones in your pocket.
Exactly, yeah. She turned into spaghetti.
And then we actually get into the movie.
Yeah, then the real movie, the plot we actually care about.
And essentially what happens here is we're introduced to our characters. I don't remember a single one of their names. I think one was Paul, actually. And one had 2 names.
The man who ended up transmitting the disease that causes this thing to happen. He had 2 names.
HIV, the disease that causes it follows.
No.
There's
you got it.
We're introduced to a large section of kids. They all go to high school. 2 of them or 3 of them are related. They're sisters, and then are 2 of them sisters?
I'm not.
They're all just kids that hang out with one another, and they have a good history together. One of the kids, I think his name was Paul, is really attracted to our main girl, but she's seeing this cool dude, and he's like a 21-year-old, and he's so mature, and they're going so well, and the family approves. They go on a date, and she really likes this guy. They're going to the movie theater, and they're playing this game, which is like somewhat, or I'll say a very lazy way to introduce the horror concept of it. They play a game called Guess the Person, where you have to, in your mind, you pick a person, and then somebody has to find that person and guess why you'd want to trade places with them.
Really weird. I didn't understand why we did this.
Especially not in a movie theater. If you're looking around at everyone in a movie theater, that's weird.
Yeah, sit down.
What do you remember? There was this review of Black Panther that said it was worth it to see a black kid like react to it and be excited, and everybody was making fun of her just watching a black kid during the entirety of Black Panther.
Staring at this kid, seeing what he's gonna do. Yeah. Poking him with a stick. Come on, do something.
So how you liking it? Who are you?
Cool. You like it? I don't know.
Mom.
Yeah, so our main character has sex with this really cool hot boyfriend man that she met. And then we wake up, well, they have sex and then he chloroforms her, and then we wake up to our main character
usually
tied
not the
to
order.
Huh?
What? I didn't say anything.
So we wake up with our main character tied to a wheelchair, and then this mysterious boyfriend man is like, all right, I gotta be honest with you. I gave you something when we did the deed where now you're gonna see a creature following you constantly at a walking pace. You might not recognize them, you might recognize them. If they catch you, you'll die. The only way to transmit the disease onto someone else is to have sex with them. And then if you die, it'll just go back to the last person. And then he's like, good luck.
He ties her to a wheelchair, and one thing is, if you've had this curse before, you'll always see them.
Yeah.
And he like wheelchairs her over to the girl, which is just some naked lady climbing up a mountain. And he says, you see her, right? And you see how she's like coming after you, right? Okay, good. Now you know it's real. I'm going to take you back into my car while you're still tied up. And I'm going to drop you off on your street, basically naked. Have fun with the rest of your life. And he leaves forever.
What kind of fucking plan is this, though? Like, he ties her up like she's going to die fast so she can't run away, right?
Yeah.
Okay, she dies, 20 minutes, it's back to him.
Well,
what was his game plan?
He was controlling the situation. He knew where the girl, he knew to drive a far ways away from her home. He knew to have an eye out for the monster and have full control over her to transport her away from that situation. Um, Overall, it's a decent plan. I think he's one of the smarter characters. There's just a few things that come to mind. At some point, I would try to have sex with like an authority figure so that something can be done systemically about this monster, because doing like this email chain that goes on forever, maybe not the best way to do it, because we could probably have it to where, I don't know, there's a government facility that's having sex with people. Like, okay, I have to, like, that's jury duty.
Oh my god, that'd be horrible.
It would save people.
I guess. Yeah, sure.
And then what's the other plot hole? Oh, he later on describes how he got it from this girl at a bar, and then he started seeing this thing. So how did he know any of this?
Yeah, he just
Stuff?
started. At some point when you see someone walking towards you like slowly, like if you see this for a week straight, you're gonna be like, "All right, man, what's the deal?" Like
Yeah.
at Friday, you know, like that's not. You're not just gonna keep running away.
That's fair. Yeah, I'll accept that. He just knows a lot about the rules for him to have gotten it out of nowhere with no explanation himself.
Yeah, pretty convenient.
Yeah.
Plot convenient, some would say.
Okay. And then you're never gonna guess what happens next. She starts seeing people.
Holy shit.
She's in situations where she starts seeing people coming towards her, and then she leaves, and it's so scary, guys.
Oh, they're following. Look, oh, they're doing it. It's following. What? Oh, no, it's far away now.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. No, it's far away now.
Yeah. She tells her family about this and her friends, or just her friends. We never see her mom or dad for some reason.
No, we hate them.
Yeah, I don't. Also, do you know what time period this is set in?
I mean, I thought it was like 2000s, I guess.
Okay. Because one of them has a flip phone, but every other technology in this, the cars, the TVs, the phones, are all 50s.
Yeah, it was really strange.
I don't get what they were doing with that, unless it was like a Twilight Zone sort of thing, or just playing off of classic horror in a way.
I really don't know. This movie felt like they wanted to do a lot of stuff and they wanted to reference a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
but it was just okay.
I'm thinking, I really liked your analogy about this being like a college thesis film, because I'm now seeing it in that way a lot, when where it has a lot of emphasis on high school. It has amateur but nice looking cinematography. It's a very basic concept. There are some things that seem a little bit uncleaned. There's a lot of stuff around plot convenience. This might, it wasn't though, right?
I mean, not that I know. I know it debuted at a film festival, so it obviously was a more amateur work, but then there are things
Well,
like
was it like an opening night for the festival, or was it a small gig with $1 million budget? And I don't think I remembered any of the names for the production companies. So
let me look. It debuted at the 2014 Cannes Film Festival and it was later purchased by Radius TWC for distribution. That's what
okay.
happened.
If it was at Cannes, that's, I mean, a lot of exceptional amateur stuff ends up going to Cannes, so that makes sense. Like that's where it's usually that. Yeah, that's usually the international market where you go, yeah, no, you don't have a budget, but you had a dream, so you get to go to Cannes.
Kinda, yeah. That makes sense.
Okay. Then what happens? Oh yeah, she goes to her friends and says, guys, there's this scary thing. And then Paul, who has a huge crush on her, says, well, I'll stay with you. I'll protect you.
Don't worry.
And then
I can take off my shirt for you.
Everybody stays there. And this is where we start seeing the original, or the first presumption of like, oh shit, might have to sleep with someone. Because we start to see her get a little bit closer to Paul during this. That could just be real affection though. But
yeah, It could be real. It could be like
Yeah.
not manufactured.
Yeah, she didn't necessarily try to sleep with him during this. They just had like a moment of niceness to each other. They had a moment, and then that moment was followed by a glass being or somebody breaking
A
into their
window.
window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So our main character, her name is Jay. Our main character.
Ah.
Um. So Jay's sleeping at a house with all her friends, and then they hear a smash at the window, and a tall man enters the bedroom, and Jay's like, "All right, I gotta get the fuck out of here," and then she dips and gets on a bike, and then wait,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she runs out of the house and everybody's like, "What is happening?" And as she's leaving,
yeah, where does she go?
she goes to the little park where she finds where her friends find her, and then someone with a car, her neighbor, who had been looking at this
Neighbor
situation before.
Greg.
Yeah, neighbor Greg.
Shout out. We love neighbor Greg. Big fan.
Yeah. Neighbor Greg took them to the lake house because he's like, I guess we can wait this out. And they're just chilling because they drove far ways away. No, wait. Before they went to the lake house, they met up with the dude again. With
You're right.
Contact Zero. They met up with Contact Zero. They traced him down. They found his fake house, and found how it was like covered with like booby traps and fake exits, or with hidden exits, so that he would always be able to escape. They eventually find out where he lives. He talks to him. They give him more information, and he says, you can travel to make like the distance harder, so you have a bit of time, because it's literally just traveling on foot. And then I should suggest you sleep with someone for your safety. It has to keep going.
What if you become an astronaut?
Or what if you like fuck? Huh.
Or just go on an island. Go to Hawaii.
Here's an idea. What if you take it to space?
This is true. Just leave it in space. What's it going to do?
Yeah, you just sort of like during the whole spaceship, you are on an automated thing where you're in a circle area, and you're always going to be on the exact other end of that circle as the
fish. Yeah.
Travel into space, drop it off on the moon, never go back to the moon.
Moon is now off limits for humanity. No more. I think that's a really good plan. They better explore that in the sequel when that exists.
Yeah, They Follow is being made right now. And I don't know. I guess it'll probably have a bigger budget, and that'll be cool to see.
Will it though? Because I think they'll try to have the same style as this movie, so I don't think it's gonna feel like it's any bigger.
Maybe. I never watched 28 Weeks Later, which is another small budget movie gets done again with a bigger budget, but I've heard it's okay. What other movies has that? I guess Halloween 2, Evil Dead 2. It's happened a few times, but
Basket Case. It's another
Green
horror
Day?
movie. No, close though. A horror movie about a guy who has a twin brother who they were like connected at birth, and his name is Belial, and he's just this little like gremlin like blob of skin that lives inside of a wicker basket, and he's in like 1980s New York, and there's a scene where he's running like butt naked down the street of New York. You can see like a Times Square before it was all like cool and everything, when it was a shitty area. Really cool movie. They made 3 of them. In one of them, Belial meets a woman Belial and has kids. Really good trilogy of movies.
Are you shitting me right now?
I'm being so real. Basket Case is a real trilogy of movies.
When did you watch this?
Years ago.
Dude, I need to watch Basket Case.
It's so funny.
Belial. A mother named their tumor son Belial.
Yep, it's great. And he gets really angry when the main character, his brother, like starts getting a romantic relationship because he can't have sex, so he's like pissed. And he starts like attacking people.
He gets so angry he can't have sex.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's the plot. It's
Dude,
better than this movie.
that
But
sounds incredible.
it is. That's what I'm saying. It's so much better than It Follows.
Okay, so they go to the lake house because they need to get some distance on him, and they're
Mhm.
really just chilling at this point. Greg doesn't believe there's actually a thing going on,
Yeah,
but
he's like, all right, sure, guys.
he is training her to use a gun in case, because obviously in this scenario, she's the only one that can see them.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're just chilling on the beach, and then like a tug happens to her hair, and she looks around, and oh, there it is,
Oh.
and everybody's confused because she's floating in the air, and Paul throws a chair, and the chair is thrown back at him, so he's like, oh shit, that actually exists. And she runs into a shed. She shoots it in the head,
Mm-hmm.
and then it just doesn't care.
It's just like,
Yeah, it's just like it falls to the ground, and then it gets back up, and then she freaks out from the shed, gets out of there, and then takes Greg's car and rides away until she gets into a car accident in a field, and she wakes up in the hospital.
mm-hmm. And so she wakes up with a broken arm, and she starts freaking out. And then to buy time, her and her friend, to quote, buy time, her and her friend have sex to pass it on to him.
Yeah, Greg, the non-believer.
The non-believer. What? I don't really remember what happened.
Traitor! After that, she just keeps going, Greg, okay, listen. You're going to have to deal with this shit now. Please have sex. And Greg's like, I'll just keep track of it. And then he wants to sort of build a relationship with her. But at the same time, he still doesn't believe it actually exists. Everybody else in the friend group does, except for him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's leaving his guard down. One night, Jay's just chilling. She's still scared as shit. But, it's how that be. And she's looking out her door, and she sees someone breaking into Greg's house. She tries calling him. She tries going in. He's like, fucking Greg!
Yeah.
Greg, get out of there! And then it's knocking on his door, and she's screaming, don't open it! And then Greg's like, fucking, what do you want, Mom? And then what an idiot.
Yeah, really not a bright guy after this whole movie.
He opens the door and is raped to death, which, man,
it's really not great.
Not cool.
But he was pretty stupid.
I don't think you can say he had it coming.
I'm saying he didn't take the correct precaution and caution when opening the door, and so it's on him.
I don't think rape's ever on the victim. But you know me.
What if it's a fucking omnipotent being that follows you no matter what?
That you know is coming after you.
Yeah, that you can't do anything about.
You know,
what about that?
I'll have to check with the agency.
You know, when you consider Greg had nothing he could do in his power to stop that monster, Greg had it coming.
Really, it's I mean, Greg should have been a lot smarter. He should have believed her of the issue. Mm-hmm. It was really sad that he died, and the second he died, the ghost of Christmas Past. That's what I refer whenever I use that line way too much.
Refer to things as the ghost of Christmas Past.
Yeah, I do.
It's for any phantom. It immediately people know what you're talking about. You're like, oh, okay,
it's a ghost.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ghost immediately is like, now I'm after you.
But yeah,
she rides to the ocean to give herself more time, and then she sees some dudes on a boat, so she immediately swims over them to have sex with them, and then comes back, and then she's like fine for a little bit, and then it comes back, and then they hatch a plan.
So at what point are you like, do you feel safe from this monster, you know?
Well, in this, I like the idea that even when she's taking the precautions she needs to, she never feels safe. Even up until the end, she does not feel safe.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, even then, you know, it's only a matter of time before it starts coming back too. So, like, I don't think any human could survive that kind of paranoia. That, like, it's the snail. We talked about this beforehand. It's
Yeah.
the snail meme, just
Yeah.
constantly coming towards you. But if you touch the snail, you die.
Mm-hmm.
And like, but you live forever. Like, it's it. That's it. That's this movie.
Yeah, except there's also
Don't live
rape in there.
forever. And there is a lot of rape in there.
Yeah. Is
And
this
allegories for AIDS.
I think yeah, this seems to be an allegory for maybe like rape or molest culture, because there's that idea if you've been molested in the past, you have a higher chance of molesting again. There's stuff you can tie to like AIDS crisis and passing on this to other people. I don't know particularly what they're trying to say about this, but
It sure is something, but
yeah.
it wasn't strong enough of a message for me to definitively say like which one it is.
Yeah, I think if I was a smarter man, I'd be able to tell you.
But we're not.
You
So
don't come to WAM to listen to experts.
come on now. You don't even come to WAM. You just misclicked.
20 minutes in, and you're still trying to figure out how to close the tab.
Go ahead, come on. Don't fumble with it for too much longer, though. It's all right.
Yeah. The ending was stupid a little bit. Their plan was have Jay be in the middle of a pool, and we're gonna have a lot of electronics near it, and then you're gonna point to where it is in the pool, and we're gonna throw this electrocuting stuff in it. Right?
Really not a great plan. This is like what 10-year-olds would come up with.
Yeah, I mean, she's also in the pool. They didn't even put her on like a floaty or anything.
They're just raw in it. I think they had the idea initially for this movie, and then they planned it out, and they're like, all right, well, shit, how do you win? And they're like, fuck. And then they just needed something, so it gave you kind of a stalemate sort of deal.
Yeah. I think the worst part about this is the idea that we've already established earlier that shooting them really doesn't work. And then you want to know how they eventually kill it? They put a drape over it so they know where it is, and they just keep shooting it, and then eventually it dies.
Wow.
I just think I wish this movie relies on the supernatural. I think if you're relying on the supernatural, it's not bad to have a supernatural solution.
That's fair. With all that stuff, how are you feeling like you're gonna want to rate this movie?
I'll get. Here's the thing. I think I went into this thinking full budget because it was given to me as like a really popular horror movie, so I was expecting like to like be really wowed by this. I'm not incredibly wowed by it. I think for production value of just $1 million, it's impressive what they could do with that. The same way I'm impressed by how like a college chef is able to make like a good chicken meal out of what they have in their cupboard.
That's really fair. Yeah.
I'll give this probably just a 3 out of 5.
I think this movie had some really good ideas and it's a cool concept, but it's not very fun. And once you get like deeper than like surface, I think it's pretty shallow. Neat idea, but as soon as you go below the surface, it's just kind of. So I'm gonna honestly say a 2. Like I said, I hope the next movie they kind of do something more with it. They either expand or change something about it. But just going into the movie and then having the problem just not even be solved by it, just the ending be, oh, it's still going on. That's not very fun.
Yeah.
I didn't feel very satisfied, and the acting was just okay. So there was really nothing drawing me into this.
There's certainly no element of this that has like a pure strength. If you go into cinematography, no. If you go into music, no. If you go into acting, no. If you go into screenwriting, no. It just has okay elements not okay elements in all of it. Music needed work.
Yeah.
But just when you look at everything, there's not a single thing where it's like they were a master at this. Sorry, my phone went off.
Yeah, I completely agree. But after this little ad segment, little fun little jaunt into news territory. And we'll see you then.
Yeah.
Here at WAM, we use this podcast as an artful avenue to blissfully and peacefully vent our fiery, unbridled rage buried deep, deep down. And now you can too.
It's now super easy to record a podcast with Zencastr. Log in using your browser and start recording a high-quality podcast right away. Record studio-quality sound and up to 4K video with your guests. Feel a sense of zen knowing Zencastr's multi-layered backups ensure you will always have your recordings in the highest quality, even if the connection is unstable.
If you thought about podcasting before and you realize that you need a lot of different tools and services, those days are over. With Zencastr's all-in-one podcasting platform, you can create your podcast all in one place and distribute to Spotify, Apple, and other major destinations. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use our code WAM and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan.
We want you to have the same easy experiences we do for all our podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story.
The headlines.
Okay, so for this movie segment, I think there's really only one thing we can talk about. We finally got the Oscar nomination list. We had a very good year, and overall, the nominations have been very good. We have 10 Best Picture nominees. I think it is American Fiction, which I want to watch with you before it's out of theaters. The Zone of Interest, Poor Things, Barbie, Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon, The Holdovers. That means there's 3 more. What else didn't I say? Past Lives, Anatomy of a Fall, and Maestro.
Yeah.
Anatomy of a Fall, I don't think you would have liked it, in all honesty. I think it's half in English, half in French. It's a courtroom drama trying to figure out if this wife killed her husband by throwing her out of a window or if he just fell like that. It's fine. There are some okay elements in it. I think especially in performance, it has a very good child performance in this. It just can be very boring.
And I can see how that's a problem, yeah, but that's a little disappointing. Okay.
Yeah. I'd love to see American Fiction, Barbie, or Poor Things for our Oscar season. Maestro is available on Netflix. That would also be an easy watch for us. Zone of Interest, I've heard, is very depressing. I think it's about a Nazi family and what it's like to grow into Nazi beliefs as a family unit. And I've heard there's some really great sound design, which you never hear about in a movie. So I'm intrigued by that.
It must be good then, yeah.
Yeah. It's has a very limited release though. In all honesty, it'll probably be available for $20 on Prime once it becomes Oscar season.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah. There was a little bit of flack about Best Director and Best Actress, specifically because Best Director did not include Greta Gerwig and Best Actress did not include Margot Robbie, both for Barbie.
Yeah. Margot Robbie, I can totally see. She did great.
She did great in Barbie. You ended up watching Barbie, right?
I did, yeah.
Okay, nice. I think Margot Robbie did great. I also think that list is full of great performances and that Margot Robbie was not even ever going to win when you have Emily Blunt running in Oppenheimer.
Yeah, I think it's not saying that she's a bad actress, but more of just these are some pretty insane picks to go up against. So the fact that she didn't make the cut in this pretty short list doesn't say anything about her acting chops at all.
In fact, and also in Best Director, it was a very stacked list this year as well. I mean, you have Christopher Nolan and Martin Scorsese both in there. You have Justine for Anatomy of a Fall. I would say the direction was okay. It was mostly the screenwriting where it didn't do well. Because, wow, I mean, it had great performances in that you'd have to give to the director as well as these actresses and actors. I don't remember. I think it was the director of Poor Things and then someone else. Greta Gerwig and Margot Robbie not being nominated are supposed to be polls at like not being feminist, or that the Oscars are negating a feminist movie and feminist morals. I think it's important to note, not only are they still nominated, Greta Gerwig for Best Adapted Screenplay, so she did write that, and then Margot Robbie was nominated for being a producer on Barbie, which counts towards Best Picture. But I think it's also important to know this movie got 8 nominations, and there was a lot of women like in film this year. Anatomy of a Fall, Poor Things, Past Lives. There was just overall a great focus on women.
Yeah, I don't think Barbie got overlooked whatsoever. It still definitely won a pretty good amount of awards, so I don't think anyone on that production is going to be disappointed.
And it made $1 billion.
Really, I don't think anyone's going to look at like their award shelf and the nominations for Barbie and be like, you know what, really could have done better this year, guys.
We're like, it's for sure that Barbie's going to walk out with some awards, probably in production design and costuming, or I don't know if it got costuming, but it did get production design.
Yeah, I saw production design.
Okay. It's definitely going to go out with some Oscars. And let's be honest here, there are a lot of people saying that it was a technically very impressive movie. That's why it'll probably win a lot of technical awards. But if you're going against people like Martin Scorsese, who has been only perfecting his game for what has to be a 60-year career, that it's going to be very hard to get every nomination. You're not going to have a Barbie sweep. If anything's going to sweep, it will be Oppenheimer. That's about it.
Yeah, that's really fair. When you're going up against something that giant and someone that experienced, you're going uphill, really. But
yeah. We'll break the glass ceiling
Oscars?
last year.
Huh?
What?
What'd you say?
I meant to say we'll break the glass ceiling next year, women.
Get them next year, girls.
Let's try 2025.
It's that like whatever 1920s woman like poster.
Oh, Rivet what is her name? The Riveter.
Something. Rhonda the Riveter.
I thought it was, I don't know if it's Rhonda, but yeah.
Rochelle.
Rudy or something.
That's a man's name.
Yeah.
I feel like it's Rhonda.
What else happened? Leonardo DiCaprio did not get a nomination for his acting in Killers of the Flower Moon.
I'm not surprised he didn't get given an insane amount in that movie.
That's fair.
He didn't get the emotional role.
Yeah. Lily Gladstone will most likely win for, what am I, stupid? Emily Blunt's not going to win Best Actress. Lily Gladstone probably will for Killers of the Flower Moon.
Oh, that's who I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Oh, no, then yeah, I'm thinking the Killers of the Flower Moon woman is probably going to. But
she's probably going to win.
Personally, I think she was all right. I think she did amazing, but she wasn't given an insane range of motion to be able to go through in that movie.
That's fair. I think she portrayed the most important emotion needed in that movie. I think without her specific performance, it would feel a lot less devastating. I think she seemed to be the backbone in that movie. As much as Leonardo DiCaprio was the protagonist, like everyone was really rooting for and like praying with that woman. It's weird to see a Scorsese movie, now that I'm thinking about it, because it's an obvious idea where it's focused on criminals, because that's what he does a lot. But never have we really had a person that we're supposed to see as the moral good in the situation. Like, it's usually just, we're going to have just a ton of violence, and you know what they're doing is wrong from just a human standpoint of, okay, that's bad. Never have we had someone that we empathize with so much that feeds into our hatred of the main character.
I agree. I can never remember what directors made what, so I can't tell you another Scorsese movie right now, but you sound right.
Yeah, Goodfellas, The Aviator, Wall Street, Wolf of Wall Street, Irishman.
I watched 2 of those.
Taxi Driver.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Mean Streets, Raging Bull. I'm not done.
I haven't watched any of these. I've watched 2 so far.
I think that's all the ones I could name.
Yeah, I've only watched 2 of those movies. It's Goodfellas and The Irishman. Do you know the theme?
Robert De Niro. That's not fair to say about
mobsters, idiot.
Yeah, mobster movies. Yeah. Yeah. What else happened in the Oscars? Oh, I have really bad news.
What?
Bradley Cooper's probably going to win an Oscar.
For what?
Well, looking at original screenplay, it has a lot less competition than adapted screenplay this year, which has both Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon, and Barbie. Going into original screenplay, the only huge competition there is Maestro, written by Bradley Cooper, and then The Holdovers. I think that's probably going to be where he wins, because let's be honest, this movie Maestro was made to win an Oscar.
But what if he doesn't, just because they know, out of spite, they're like, don't give it to him?
I would respect them so much if Maestro walked out with not a single award.
I'd be happy.
There was a joke.
I framed the day on my wall.
There was a joke made that Leonard Bernstein has a Grammy, a Tony, and an Emmy. If Bradley Cooper were to win the Oscar playing Leonard Bernstein, it would technically count as him getting his EGOT.
You know, that's true. I think you should go for it.
I think from the grave, a person playing you gives you your last award.
Finally, my recognition.
Finally, I can revive now. What if that's what an EGOT gets you.
Yeah.
It gets you a 1-up. Yeah, there's not a lot going at the moment. We have some better movies coming into March, but for the moment right now, we got a little bit of a dry spell. Everybody's mostly just waiting for Oscar season to hole up.
Yeah, I'm really waiting for Ironclaw to come onto streaming, because I've been meaning to go see it in the theaters, but I just don't think it's going to happen, so I'm going to see it when it goes to streaming.
I think I saw somebody watching it on streaming recently.
Oh, did you? I've seen a lot of advertisements for it, so maybe.
I think it's like a video on demand kind of thing right now.
Yeah, that's okay.
But is
there any? Have you seen Wonka?
No, I haven't seen Wonka. I won't see Wonka.
I think we should see Wonka.
Well, okay, we could see Wonka. It's fully in our ability. But with Oscar season coming up, we also have Maestro, which is on Netflix. We have American Fiction, which is in theaters, and we have Poor Things, which is in theaters.
I don't know what American Fiction is. I'll have to watch a trailer later, but this is true. I don't want to watch Poor Things.
Mm-hmm. American Fiction is probably the funniest plot idea I've heard in a while. This black author doesn't like how he's not being respected as a intellectual, so he writes under a code name and he starts making up stories about his hard life in the ghetto, and he immediately is a bestseller.
That's great. Max, I'm really down for that.
Yeah, it's getting great reviews.
Interesting. I'm pretty excited to watch that, actually. But if we don't have anything else for news, then this has been WAM. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks again to Zencastr for sponsoring this episode. Remember to follow the link on our podcast about page. Go to our Linktree, see all our socials, and our YouTube channel, where we'll now be posting a full video version of WAM. Not directly video of us, but a little GIF that we made. So we hope y'all enjoy that there.
Yeah, a lot of work went into that. And if I hear any of you making fun of it, I will take it down.
We will cry really hard about it and take it down quietly.
The next WAM will just be a self-reflection time.
This has been WAM.
And you've been WAM.
All right, we'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Yeah, baby.